I'm Andrew Leary, and I'm doing Chapter 3 from Pickwick Papers. Lots of anecdote. Rum fellow, does the heavy business, no actors, strange men, all sorts of miseries, dismal Jemmy, we call him on the circuit. Now, sir, will you oblige us by proceeding with what we're going to relate? Are you a poet? Aye, I do a little in that way. Ah, poetry makes life what light and music do the stage strip, the one of the false embellishments and the other of its illusions, and what is there real in either to live or care for? Very true, sir. To be before the footlights is like sitting at a grand court show and admiring the silken dresses of the gaudy throng. To be behind them is to be the people who make that finery uncared for and unknown, and left to sink or swim, to starve or live, as fortune wills it. Certainly. Go on, Jimmy. Like black-eyed Susan, all the downs no croaking. Speak out. Look lively. Will you make another glass before you begin, sir? The dismal man took the hint, and having a mixed glass of brandy and water, and slowly swallowed half of it, opened the roll of paper and proceeded partly to read it and partly to relate the following incident, which we find recorded on the transactions of the club as the stroller's tale. There is nothing of the marvelous is what I'm going to relate. There is nothing even uncommon to it. Want and sickness are too common in many stations of life to deserve more notice than is usually bestowed on most ordinary vicissitudes of human nature. I have thrown these few notes together because the subject of them was well known to me for many years. I traced his progress downward step by step until at last he reached that excess of destitution from which he never rose again. The man of whom I speak was a low pantomime actor, and, like many people of his class, an habitual drunkard in his better days before he had become enfeebled by dissipation and emaciated by disease. He had been in the receipt of good salary, which, if he had been careful and prudent, he might have continued to receive for some years, not many, because these men either die early or by unnatural taxing their bodily energies, lose prematurely those physical powers on which alone they can depend for subsistence. His besetting sin gained so fast upon him, however, that it was found impossible to employ him in the situations in which he really was useful to the theatre. The public house had a fascination for him which he could not resist. Neglected disease and hopeless poverty were as certain to be his portion as death itself. If he persevered in the same course, yet he did persevere, and the result may be guessed. He could obtain no engagement, and he wanted bread. Everybody who is at all acquainted with theatrical matters knows what host of shabby and poverty-stricken men hang about the stage of the large establishment, not regularly engaged actors, but ballad people, procession men, tumblers, and so forth, who are taken and during the run pantomime on the Easter piece. Mr. Huntley John. Mr. Huntley, that you send for tonight you know. Ah, Huntley, let me see. Don't leave me, old fellow. She murdered me. I know she will. That's it.